You don't love me. No one loves me. Well, Ozzy loves me. Ozzy is my dog. So the question is, does she really, really, really love me? Or has evolution programmed her to act like she loves me, huh? An article in the Atlantic Monthly suggests people may not have a clue about the reality of their pet dogs. So we're going to seek out the truth with the help of Dr. Vint Verga, a resident in clinical animal behavior at Cornell University's College of Veterinary Medicine. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome.
So basically this article indicated that dogs are social parasites, that they're sort of the ultimate con artists, that they've basically learned behavior and they've learned what works with us in order for us to please them. Do you think that's true?
I don't really agree with the idea that they're con artists and that they're actually trying to manipulate us in a conscious, devious type of level. I think that certainly they've learned that they can be very effective at getting the type of things they want us to do.
So like she was just licking my arm. Now, she wasn't necessarily doing that because she loves the feel of my arm. It was more she knows that will engender me to rub her more.
I think so, exactly, yeah.
So that's manipulative.
It's manipulative, but I don't think it's manipulative in the sense that, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get this. I think that she's learned that there's a variety of different behaviors that she can do in order to get you then to respond with affection and attention, which is really what most of those types of behaviors are associated with.
What are some of the other examples of that sort of thing?
Of attention-seeking behaviors? Certainly licking, pawing, leaning against, putting your chin up on your lap. Certainly at the dinner table, just even looking at people often can get them to start paying attention more to the dog. And I think probably one of the big, more nuisance behaviors would be barking, in the case of cats meowing.
And people, I mean, it's amazing to say now that I'm a dog owner that people, including myself, anthropomorphize onto the animal. I mean, that we project human qualities onto their behavior, and it's not necessarily accurate.
No, I think that is what I really strive to do, is try to put a more accurate representation or interpretation of what probably the underlying behavior is that the dog's really doing, rather than assuming that the dog's jealous or the dog feels guilty or the dog's sorry or the dog's feeling sad.
So dogs don't feel jealous?
I don't believe that dogs feel jealous or feel guilty. I think those are two emotions that I really don't attribute to dogs. I think those are human emotions.
So when Ozzy goes to the bathroom on the rug, not that she ever does that, but in the past, long ago, when she used to do that, and I would, scold her, and she would, look up and sad, be all complacent and sad and sort of cringe, she was sort of conning me.
I think that what I would say is she knew that by doing that type of behavior, she was a lot more likely to deflect your anger. And I think that also the other thing that dogs do with showing that behavior is they're actually, in some cases, I'm not saying Ozzy, but in some cases actually afraid that if I don't do something right now, something bad's going to happen.
So it's deflecting aggression.
Deflecting the aggression, or deflecting your anger.
And that's something that they've learned through pack behavior? That
I think so. I think that you can, that's constant among most of the canids out there.
Do you see that in your own practice? A lot of people coming to you saying the dog, they're convinced the dog is jealous or sad or...
Certainly. They attribute a variety of different things. I think jealousy, I think feeling guilty is a really biggie. Dog's gotten into the garbage, and they come home and there's garbage lying on the floor. And what they do then is they notice the dog slinking out of the room, and it's showing this really deferential posture, cringing, tail down, not a full posture. And the people will go, well, he knew better. Well, I think the dog instead has learned that by doing that behavior, I'm more likely to get away with not being punished badly. And I think in a lot of cases, the dog's also just simply deferring to us and trying to avoid any potential.
And there's a lot we don't really still know about dog behavior. I mean, it's something that really hasn't been studied all that much. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's why it's really the most recently recognized field of veterinary medicine, is because it is so complex and it is so difficult to understand. In addition to all the complexities of the brain that we associate with human psychiatry, we've also got the problem with dogs of not really understanding what the underlying motivation is. I can't tell you the number of times I tell my clients, I wish I could just ask the dog or the cat, what are you feeling when this happens? When you've just destroyed something, if it's a separation anxiety case, or you've just chased after that little kid showing severe aggression problems.
And aggression is the number one problem with dogs.
Absolutely, and that's certainly what we see at Cornell too, that aggression seems to be the most common reason why we see dogs.
And I mean, you would think that through evolution that aggression would be a trait that was bred out of dogs, but it's possible that the actual way dogs are bred, particularly like pure breeds and stuff, actually contributes to the problem.
It's possible, certainly, if you have a number of dogs within a breed that seem to be repetitively bred for whatever reason, then you're going to result in inbreeding, and just like you can have plenty of diseases that happen as a result of inbreeding, whether they're musculoskeletal problems or eye problems, or cardiac or heart problems. You can also have behavior problems that probably have a genetic component to them.
And traditionally it was always thought that dogs basically became domesticated around the time that humans started agricultural societies, but we now learn that dogs actually were around much longer than that. I mean, as much as 100,000 years ago, is it?
Yeah, I think the original fossil evidence showed that dogs, that they differed from wolves, or the first initial evidence was about 12,000 years ago. Now it looks like it's some like 135,000 years ago if you actually look at genetic differences between wolves or the common ancestors.
And why that's significant is because back then people were basically not really even, humans were not all that human, and so the question is, did we really domesticate dogs, or did they sort of domesticate us, and did they sort of choose us?
I think that, yeah, exactly, and I think that what the evidence shows or implies is that dogs actually found that it was worth it to hang around us.
Sounds a little manipulative, I don't know. You know, I love my dog, but I don't know, I'm looking at her a little bit differently these days, after reading this article and talking with you. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dr. Vin Verga. And Ozzy, I still love you, even though I think you're kind of manipulating me a little bit. And you at home are watching World News Now. Stay with us.